Folks, welcome into another edition of the Major League Baseball Show right here on SportsbookReview.com. Today is Thursday, July 30th. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Jason Radowitz. Let's just say he's Jason Radowitz. He's the master, Jason Radowitz. Another big night in Major League Baseball. And guys, I do apologize here. I should have rode the freight train. That was the Cubs yesterday, again hitting their team total. But instead, I went with Yelich, and Yelich let me down. But it's okay. Jason carried the weight yesterday. Welcome into the show. Another big card, Jason. Boy, it feels good to win some games, doesn't it?
Yeah, it was a really fun night. The Royals were the only team that lost for us. We had a team total of 4.5. They only scored 4 runs in that game. In the beginning of the show, I had said I was looking for the Royals at 3.5, but I just held with 4.5. Now you realize how big of a difference that makes when you're looking for a number that you can't get. Every number matters, and that's why all the lines are different and odds are different for everything. So, yeah. The Royals couldn't get the job done, but still went 4-1 on the day. So it's still a lot of fun.
No, we'll always take that there. And also taking a look at the chat box. Me and Jason were talking about it. It's beautiful. Like, we're not even on the air yet. 65, 66, 67 people waiting. The minute we click live, we're 1 minute into the show. Already 100 people in here checking it out. Thank you for the support. If you haven't done so yet, you're new to the channels, you haven't seen it, said, boy, this guy Jason is ripping it up right now. I got to get in and check this out. Hit that subscribe button below. Hit the notification bell. When Jason and I go live every day, Monday through Friday, 1:30 p.m., you'll get it delivered directly to your inbox. Come in and say hello. We do thank you. Jonathan Cruz, Alex, Chad Barnett, Game, Jared Schrader, Ray Kimbrell, Marcus Scafaldi. Welcome into the show. Why don't we get started here? Nice little slate. We'll do the same thing we do every day. Got a couple games picked out. We'll open it up at the end of the show to the chat box. And also, you don't want to miss out at the end of the show when we recap, give out some best bets and bankers. Jason, let's get started here. We'll keep it in rotation. There is an earlier day game, but we'll get to that second. First off, 9:51, 9:52, the Chicago Cubs and the Cincinnati Reds. Runs, and more runs. We'll see if it continues today. Jason, yesterday, we thought we might have had a pitching duel out there, but before you know it, it was 9-0 one side, and then the Cubs come back and tack on some later. 20 or so runs scored in that game. If we look today, 7 out of every 10 tickets coming in on the hometown Reds in this one, but it opened up at 130 at Pinnacle offshore, 145 offshore at Chris at SBRodds.com. We're seeing it backtrack, Jason. I got 112s, 110s, right around a pick 'em across the board, and also in a series that has scored a lot of runs, this opener opened at 9 as a total. Now we're sitting at 8.5. If we take a look at the first two starts from these two pitchers today, Darvish and Castillo. Darvish, 4 innings, 3 earned runs. Castillo, 6 innings, 1 earned run. Are we going to get that normal run score today? We're going to see a little bit of a backtracking and trust that line dropping on the total here, Jason.
Yeah, it's been pretty impressive with these offenses, how they performed recently. But, yeah, I'm on under 4.5 in the first 5 innings in this game with Castillo and Darvish on the mound. Look, Darvish, he allowed 6 hits in 4 innings, allowed 3 earned runs, and struck out 5 in his first start versus the Brewers. The Brewers' offense has been a little bit shaky recently, and yeah, Darvish didn't look his best, but Darvish, he held righties to a 181 batting average and held lefties to a 243 batting average last season. The Reds have just combined 152 average against Darvish and 132 at-bats. Then you go on the other side, Castillo looked really good in his first start, 6 innings, 1 run, 6 hits while recording 11 strikeouts and 1 walk. So Castillo is more of the guy that you kind of expect to perform. You're kind of just waiting to see how Darvish will perform, and that's why most of the tickets are on the Reds in this spot. The Cubs have hit 39 of 160 versus Castillo. Schwarber's the one guy to look out, does have 3 homers off of Castillo, but Castillo was a beast at home last season. He went 8-7, but at a 3.15 ERA with a 191 batting average to opponents at home. Yeah, I like under 4.5 in the first 5 in this game. I got it at plus money, plus 104 in that for that game. So, yeah, you're getting plus money with 2 solid pitchers on the mound. I do think the offense kind of slows down here, and Darvish and Castillo go to work, at least in the first 5 innings. We might see some runs later on, but at least in the first 5, this should be a low-scoring game.
No, you're right. Both bullpens. Looks like you can tack on some runs to both of them. And speaking of getting to a first 5 under, let's take a look at the next game. 9:53, 9:54. That's a 4 o'clock Eastern time start. Eric Fetty for the Nationals, and Toronto's going to run out there. Hyun-Jin Ryu. 50-50 ticket split yesterday. How about a non-sweat game for you there, Jason? 0-0 at the end of 5 when you're on the under. You should get bonus points for doing that. We'll see what takes place today. Line opened up. Don't have an official line opener, but it looks like we're hovering with heavy favorites here. Keep in mind, Toronto listed as the home team, but the game game is still played in Washington. I'm seeing roughly around 150s out there with a total of 9.5 across the board. Fedde opened up 4 innings, 1 earned run. Ryu, 4 2/3, giving up 3 earned runs. Fedde last year, somewhat successful, but usually gets damaged by left-handed batters. I just wish Toronto, for me, Jason, had more left-handed batters in the lineup tonight. I'll wait to see a lineup card, even though it is a 4 o'clock start. I didn't check. If there's more than 5 left-handed batters, that's possible. I might lean on a team total here as an over for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah, it's a good point. I do think when we look at the lineup, I think we'll at least see maybe 4 lefties in that Jays lineup. So it's at least, maybe 40% in that lineup. So yeah, I think it's enough to get the job done, especially with Ryu on the mound. Of course, last season, a 2.32 ERA and a 3.1 FIP. He left 82.20% of runners on base last season and just allowed 1.18 walks per 9 innings. Also, really hard to hit a home run off him last season as well. So his first start was kind of shaky, but I do expect him to get back on track like we talked about yesterday, how Scherzer, Giolito, a lot of pitchers bounced back from poor performances in their first start. I do think Ryu bounces back, has a good performance in this one against the Nationals lineup that just isn't that great. As we saw yesterday, just they're not performing, especially without Soto. I'm not sure if Soto's back in the lineup, but either way, I don't think it really makes a difference for Ryu. Nats batters, they're hitting just 173 combined, 17 for 96 against Ryu in their career. I do like the Blue Jays here. It's an official play for me. Also, minus 139 for the Blue Jays. I'd also lean towards under 9 in this matchup.
Yeah, not sure about the Washington offense here, but the lineups are out and only 3 left-handed batters, Jason, going to be in play for Toronto today. But look, you're not getting a power pitcher in this one. It's going to feel like a softball pitcher after seeing Max Scherzer coming at you last night. But if we take a look at the game itself, and still some iffiness here, because yesterday reported on the show that Juan Soto did clear, but he's still waiting to get cleared by Washington, D.C. He's also not in the lineup today. Is this one of those things where you just wait till he gets back, or you don't really know what you're going to get, hitting-wise out of the Nationals at this point, Jason?
I think even with Soto in the lineup, we were kind of concerned about their offense. They lose Rendon. The year before that, they lose Harper. I think you're just kind of concerned about the entire offense, Zimmerman not being there. This offense is just even with Soto, it's a shaky lineup. I don't put too much confidence in that Nationals lineup at all. I do think the Blue Jays, they do have a solid lineup of young studs who can perform, especially against a guy like Fedde, who's, an average pitcher at best, had a 5.34 FIP last season. So, yeah, I'm on the Blue Jays minus 139. I'm not worried about the Nationals.
Rob Krupnik also says what we have here, only 3 lefties in the lineup today: Biggio, Tellez, and Fisher. Abdul Rira says Ryu picking up where he left off from last season. Jose Farfan, Jason is the truth. Let's keep moving here. 963, 964. Boston and the New York Mets going to tee it up again. Hitting weather New York here, Jason, at Citi Field. About 88 degrees with a wind blowing out. 2 lefties on the mound. Matt started the season off well, going, looks like, 6 innings, 1 earned run. Perez doing his Norma Martin Perez things. 5 innings, 4 earned runs. Battle lefties on the mound today. 8 out of every 10 tickets here, Jason, coming in on the New York Mets. But the line opened up at 153 at SBRodds.com. At Pinnacle now sits at 149. And Chris actually opened up off short, minus 170. That dipped back to minus 156. Is this a spot where you might think maybe the road team can snap back once again? Because they beat the Grom last night. So I'd say, hey, we're going to get Mats on the mound. But not somewhat the case. I don't know if I'm getting out of Perez. The Mets should be able to stack some right-handed batters out there. Hitting weather in New York. Maybe a Mets team total for me in this one. But I think it's a little bit too pricey for me, Jason, to go with Mats in that 150, 160 type price range.
Yeah, it's interesting. I kind of agree with the Mets team total there with Martin Perez on the mound, of course. Steven Matz, he's been so good at home, especially last season, had a 2.31 ERA at home, 8-2 in 15 starts, even had a complete game at home. So, yeah, Matz, he looked really good in his first outing versus the Braves, just 2 hits, 1 run, which was a solo home run, 7 strikeouts and just 1 walk. And that game was at home as well. So, yeah, Matz is a different pitcher at home. Pitchers really well at home. The Mets, obviously, they lost that game. And, they definitely want to salvage the final game in that series to make sure that they win one game against the Red Sox at home because, when you have Red Sox on your lineup, you have to capitalize. And they didn't in that game yesterday. So hopefully they capitalize on the one today. So, yeah, the righties, like you said, they smacked Perez, 293 batting average, 360 on base percentage. You can insert Pete Alonso, Yoenis Cespedes, J.D. Davis, Wilson Ramos. Yeah, a bunch of righties in that lineup that can do damage. So I'm with you on the Mets team total. It's a lean for me at Mets minus 155 and also over 9.5. I do think the Mets score enough runs to get that over.
Yeah, I think we get some as well. It's kind of interesting because, year to year, we're used to looking at the Yankees lineup, the Dodgers lineup, the Boston Red Sox lineup, both starting pitching wise and also for the lineup itself, 1 through 9 as being power. But you take a look, JD Martinez in that 2-hole, and, Rafael Devers, nice player, Xander Bogaerts, nice player. But outside of the Pilar, Vasquez, Verdugo, young player supposed to do something, Chavis, Jackie Bradley Jr., Peraza, just not that same punch in the lineup, but a nice win last night to get one over DeGrom and that Mets bullpen. We'll see if they shake it off today. But nice hitting weather up there. I think the Mets will be okay in this one. I think they should be able to put up 5+ runs. We'll see how that turns out. 965, 966. Here we go. The Central, some marquee teams. The Cleveland Indians going to go with Shane Bieber, who was outrageous opening day. 14 strikeouts in 6 innings going up against Barrios here. 6 out of 10 tickets here, Jason, coming in on the Minnesota Twins. We do have some reverse line movement here because Cleveland actually opened up as a slight favorite. 110 minus 115, depending where you're shopping at. But that's flipped over to 110, 115, as high as 117 at 5 dimes in the way of Minnesota. Now, it looks like if you're a pitcher for Minnesota, you say, look, as long as I don't explode on the mound over the first 5 to 6 innings, give up 4 runs or less, we're going to be in each and every single game. It looks like some of the betting public is generalizing that, being like, look, Bieber was awesome, but hey, this is the Minnesota Twins bat. Which way do you give the power through a dominant pitcher who looked good in his first start? Can he quiet those bats? Or you just say, Jason, at this time, the Twins are hot. I don't know how you go up against them. If they get a couple runs, it should be good here.
Yeah, this is a really fun matchup. Probably, I know some of the guys in the chat like to call it the main event of the day. Yeah. This one has main event potential right here with Bieber and Barrios on the mound. But I had an official play on this one. I'm going with the Twins over 3.5 team total. Any chance you get the Twins to get over 3.5 runs in a game, you have to take it. Shane Bieber looked fantastic in his first start. He had 14 strikeouts and 6 innings of work, dominated in that game. He had a great performance, but that means that there were 3 innings where the bullpen had to come in, and also Bieber has struggled versus Minnesota in the past. And his FIP right now is negative 0.68, so that's going to regress at some point, and that could be in this game. I don't think it's going to be negative much longer. Bieber, Minnesota hits them with a 356 average and an 385 on base percentage in their career stats. Donaldson, Rosario have combined 5 homers versus Bieber. A couple of the other guys have really done well against Bieber in the past on the Twins. So that entire Twins lineup has a lot of great stats against Bieber, where I think that they'll be able to produce enough against Bieber, score 1-2 runs, and then score another 2 runs against the bullpen in the 6th to 9th innings or 7th to 9th innings. Bieber, 2.88 ERA on the road. He went 9-5 in 16 games. Held opponents to just a 199 average on the road. So, he was good on the road. He was great in this first game that he started this season. So, I'm going off of what the Twins have shown me against Bieber in the past. Barrios, he's been lit up in his first start. He had, 7 hits, 5 runs in 4 innings. Had just 1 strikeout and 1 walk versus the White Sox. Again, though, the Indians, they only hit him with a 177 average. They had a career on-base percentage of 233. So, I like the Twins over 3.5. I don't recommend 4.5, so definitely get 3.5. Look at the FBR page. Try to find different books that have the alternate lines and get that 3.5, even though the juice might be a little bit higher at around minus 140, minus 150. It's a no-brainer for me. But, I'm not gonna test my luck against Bieber with 4.5, so definitely look at 3.5.
Yep, in this way, because at the end of the show, we're going to recap, give some best bets, of course, just like we always do. I actually like the opposite side here when taking a look at a team total. I'm finding Cleveland right around that 4 range, and the reason I like it is, look, Barrios is a really good pitcher, but the one thing that the Indians have the ability to do that not a lot of teams do is they have so many switch hitters in that lineup. If we're looking at a projective lineup, the first 4 batters are all switch hitters, so theoretically, they're going to come from the left-hand side. Then you have Ray as a righty, and then you can knock it down 6 with Zimmer, 7 with Johnson, 8 with Leon, and also Greg Allen at the 9 hole. He's also switch hitter. So that's 8 left-handed bats and only 1 right-handed bat. Whenever I can get something like that, as long as it's not exorbitant, like 5.5 or a 6-run line, even though he's a good pitcher, you're just looking at 4 runs here to get the push. And if I get that overextended stack of left-handed bats, I think it's worthwhile here. I'm going to lean on that one. I like Cleveland -4, but it should be a good game. We've been watching these two teams so far through this early season. I think you can get some runs. 8.5 again is the total across the board. 4-4, you got yourself a winner. I think they can do that in this game, even though we're supposed to have a pretty good pitching matchup here, Jason. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And so in the chat, if you guys if you don't have team totals in your books and you don't want, and you're too lazy to go over SBR, which is shame on you for start off. But yeah, no, if you don't have team totals, look at over 8.5. It does seem kind of low for the history that the Minnesota Bats have against Bieber and what the potential the Indians have against Brios, who didn't have a great performance in his first start. So if you want a play and you don't have team totals, yeah, over 8.5 does seem pretty nice.
No, it should be fun. There are over 280 people watching now live in the chat box, getting it going. Major League season. Also have a great soccer show that starts 10 a.m. Eastern time on Sportsbook Review. And again, the NBA is back noontime with Jay talking a little bit of NBA action. We got it all rolling on the channels for you. Let's keep going through this baseball hour here. 971, 972, San Diego and San Francisco. Dinelson Lamet versus Gaussman on the mound today. About 6 out of every 10 tickets here coming in on the Padres. But if we take a look, a heavy road favorite opening up around 175 offshore, now sitting at 167 at Pinnacle, but not a lot of movement from Chris and 5 dimes at this point. If we look at the over-under, how about this? Opened up 8 and 8.5, Jason, offshore. We're now seeing 7.5s across the board. Are we going to get a pitching matchup here? But look, I look at Gaussman's numbers. There's no reason why San Diego can't come up with a few runs here and push that number higher.
Yeah, that's really low for a game that Gaussman's pitching in. Yeah, but for me, I got Padres minus 1.5. Which is like around minus 105 on the juice. And so that's my official play for this game. I'd also look at over 8 or 7.5 if you see that. I definitely agree with that. And even the Padres team total over, which is probably around 4.5, would look like a great play as well. Gaussman allowed 3 runs, 2 earned runs in 4 innings off 6 hits, 2 strikeouts and 1 walk versus the Dodgers. Righties hit Gaussman with a 295 average last season, and lefties hit a 265 average, and then both had identical on-base percentages over 300 against Gaussman. So the Padres, they have Tatis, Machado, Pham, Hedges, all from the right side that can do damage against Gaussman. And then Lamet, on the other hand, looked fantastic in his first start. He allowed 5 hits, 1 run, 8 strikeouts, and 1 walk versus the Diamondbacks. And if you look at his stats from last season, he was much better on the road last season with a 2.92 ERA, a 196 on batting average in 37 innings, and the Giants batter struggled against him. They hit just .083, 1 hit in 17 tries against Lamet. So, yeah, I like the Padres minus 1.5. I do think the Padres, after coming off a wicked loss last night on the Yastrzemski walk-off, I think the Padres get back here and make some noise, especially with their bats, and I think Lamet will have a good outing.
No, I think it is too. How about this? Ray Kimbrough up $2,000 because of Jason. Never in my life have I done that, banker. And if we take a look at this game also, the reason why I like to fade Kev Gaussman in this spot is because left-handers cave this guy in. Now, look, the lineups aren't out. It's not till a little bit later, but it's one of those where I say, you know what? I have my finger on the trigger from what I like. If I can get 5 batters from the left-hand side, which it looks like in the preliminary lineup, that's going to be Grisham, Hosmer, Profar, Mejia, and Naylor. If I can get 5 of the 9 batters here, I like a team total over on San Diego. I think they're the better team, and I think they can get to Gaussman, especially from the left-handed side. Thank you guys for tuning in. Up to 290 here live in the chat box. Ken Dwally, love you, Jay. And also Chris Kopech, I'm on a Braves-Rays first 5 under as well. So keep it coming here in the chat box. We're going to open it up in just a few moments for any of the games that we have missed. Let's get to the New York Yankees, the unstoppable New York Yankees at the plate. The Savages in the box, 973, 974. Happen means 2 lefties going to go at it today. 8 out of every 10 tickets here, Jason, coming in on the Yankees. And that's not with a cheap price either. And that's not with Garrett Cole on the mound. This is J.A. Happ, 236, 246, as high as 250 across the board at SBRodds.com. An over-under that opened up at 10.5. Now we're seeing that push through to 11s on the season. Both of these guys getting their first start. But, Jason, where I erred yesterday and you did not was, hey, the Yankees are off. Let's see what we get. Maybe they need a game back. It didn't matter. They swing for the fences, and in Camden Yards, the ball flies out of there. And that pitching staff doesn't seem to be capable of keeping it in the ballpark, being the Baltimore Orioles. What are we looking at this game? Is it too expensive to go with? Or maybe you're looking again like, hey, I'm just going to ride this Yankees train on offense here.
I think this could be the upset of the day. I think the Orioles can upset the Yankees in this game. So hearing that there's 8 out of 10 tickets on the Yankees is very, very concerning. This is an absolute trap spot here. John Means on the mound for the Orioles. You guys forget that he was an all-star last year, right? He had a 3.6 ERA, a 4.41 FIP, and he kept the Orioles in games He actually had 12 wins and 11 losses. So he had more wins than losses for the Baltimore Orioles last season. So people are forgetting how great of a pitcher John Means was because he hadn't started the season, because of his being off. So Means dominated at home with a 2.74 ERA, 8-5 record at home, held batters to a 207 batting average in 18 games at home, dominated lefties with a 184 batting average. And then J.A. Happ, on the other hand, been destroyed by this Orioles lineup. The Orioles are hitting 281 with a 320 on-base percentage, but Renato Nunez and a bunch of the other Orioles hitters are just destroying Happ. Nunez has 4 homers in 19 at-bats. They're right-handed heavy lineup. They've allowed 260. They've had a 260. Have allowed a 268 batting average from righties last season. There's a lot of history for this Orioles lineup that say that they're going to be hitting Happ in this one. So for me, it's an official play. Orioles over team total at 3.5. But if you want that underdog play in that trap game, definitely look at the Orioles on the money line, or you could even take them. I think they're even at +2, +2.5 now. That's definitely a great play, especially in value circumstances. I like the Orioles in this game.
Migs World's pick says, love John Means here. O's first 5 money line for me. And Ian Sidler, some of these names are tough to pronounce over here. Yankees have won 17 straight games against Baltimore. Greg Yaminski says possible trap spot for the Yankees and also the Dodgers. So we're going to keep an eye on a lot of things. Let's open it up. We got a couple minutes here. This is great. We get through the games we wanted to. We'll wrap up at the end of the show on what we really like and some banker plays. But let's get to some bonus baseball here, Jason. 959, 960. Kansas City and Detroit, the scene of the crime last night. Needed one more run for you, Jason, to get that sweep on the show. Weren't able to get it, but hey, it feels better than if they got shut out or one run. People always say, like, oh, I'd rather lose big. No, you'd rather get close to it because you know your cap was on point and certainly on target. Singer and Nova in this one, 7 out of every 10 tickets coming in on Kansas City in this game, and the money is moving in the same direction. What we mean by that, Pinnacle opens up at -108. Chris opens up at -112. Jason, I'm seeing as high as 143 at DraftKings in New Jersey, but it looks like a consensus around that 130 to 135 range for Kansas City. I'm not a Nova believer. If you're in Major League Baseball in this day and age in 2020, you're not striking guys out and the ball is in play and it's great hitting conditions in Detroit today. I got to tell you, I like Kansas City, even though I'm not a huge guy with Singer here, but it's more of a fade of Ivan Nova. I think those Kansas City Royals didn't get there last night, Jason, on the team total. I think they get there tonight, though.
Yeah, I had that in my notes. Of course, I'm not going to go back to it because I'm disappointed in the Royals. But, yeah, I got that in my notes. And, you know, I think Brady Singer does have potential and has good stuff in his arsenal. And then Ivan Nova, of course, the guy that the hard contact off of Nova is just ridiculous. Yeah. And the Royals, they do have some really good bats in that lineup. Even though you look at the lineup up and down, it's like, all right, it's the average, but they do have some guys that really do make good contact. Merrifield, Soler, Salvador Perez. They have guys that can make good contact, with the ball. For Nova, Nova just righties hit Nova with a 313 average last season, and lefties hit the 293 last season. So, like, those are just terrible numbers for a guy that pitched in 34 games last season. I'm over the. I like the Royals here, -135. Over 10 would be also a play. Royals team total over, also another play. But these are all just leans for me.
All right, Patty's 1996 over in the Dodgers game, guys, with a question mark. Would appreciate your thoughts. Why don't we hit that game? 9:40 Eastern time start. Stripling versus Ray, the lefty on the mound. This is the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks. 7 out of every 10 tickets coming in on the Dodgers here. Not a lot of line movement. Chris opened up offshore here, Jason, at 155. Now stays at 155. So not a lot of movement here, despite everybody looking and say, hey, how can you go against the Dodgers? The bats are hot coming to town. Can Robbie Ray, we know, can pitch. Doesn't really pitch to contact, a strikeout guy, but does tend to get a little bit of wild and has struggles with his walks. Is this a spot that you look for, say, maybe they can get upset, or you just say, you know what, that Dodgers lineup 1 through 9 now with the DH is too much to overcome because the total in this game, which is the question originally, is 9.5. Can this get to 10, or maybe they shut the door on this one, Jason?
I mean, we watched the Dodgers game last night, and that was a struggle for the Dodgers to score many runs. They scored late in the game, of course, and got the win. But Robbie Ray, the left-handed pitcher, and a lot of the power from the Dodgers come from the left side. Bellinger, Seager, those guys struggle versus Robbie Ray. They struggle a lot. Maybe you have Chris Taylor, you have Justin Turner, and maybe Mookie Betts could make them makes the magic happen. But, Robbie Ray, let's not forget, he does have good stuff. He gets a little erratic at times, but he does have good stuff. Of course, 4.34 walks per 9 innings, 1.55 home runs per 9 innings, 4.29 FIP. Yeah, he's hard to read, and that's why I didn't make this an official play, because there's other games out there that are a lot easier to read. So I'm not going to worry about this game. But for me, Ross Stripling, he gets 50% ground balls, only allows 1.09 home runs per 9, walked to less than 2 batters per 9 innings last season in 15 games started and 32 games played. 3.47 FIP and 3.80 ERA on the road with a 254 batting average. He started versus Arizona 4 times, 5 appearances, only allowed 6 runs, 5 earned on 16 hits in 18 innings pitched. So for me, I do think this game goes under the total of 9.5. Tough one for me.
Interesting here. Oh, hey, Jason, 330 people in here listening to us talk about Major League Baseball on a Thursday afternoon. We can't thank you guys enough. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like. We don't ask you for anything except your attention, and the chat box, as always, is popping. Question here, which I think is a pretty good one here, and I want to get back to it. Billy Oliveira says, the Dodgers just played 2 playoff games. Now going back on the road in a different scenario. Is this, and look, it's a 60 games. We're not talking about 162. It's still a 60-game season, still in division. But is this one where that buildup was, boy, we can't wait to play the Astros. Now you get into another spot. And again, you don't have the crowd to lift you up. Nobody's there. Possible letdown situation just overall? You say, you know what? They know what they got to do this year.
Yeah, there's potential there for sure. That's why I'm staying away from this game. I just don't know what to expect. I want to watch the game. Yeah. I want to get my homework and research on what could happen in the next game potentially when these two teams play. But yeah, I mean, look, again, Robbie Ray is a good pitcher, and if the Dodgers get aggressive, the Dodgers get mad, they're going to strike out a ton. They start pressing and doing different things that they're not used to doing because they're mad or disappointed with the results that are coming up. Yeah, Robbie Ray can have a good game, and he can also have a bad game, right? So that's why I'm not taking the game. But yeah, and it's going to be an interesting one for sure.
Migs World Pick says, what do you think of Bundy today? We've got a couple of ex-Orioles on the mound pitching for different teams. We obviously covered Kevin Gausman. Now we're going to get to Dylan Bundy on the mound versus Marco Gonzalez, the slow lefty, that crafty lefty trying to hit the outside corners of the plate. If we take a look at this game, 7 out of every 10 tickets coming in here on the Angels opened up at 195 and close to 200 at some outlets. Now settling in here right around that 190 to 195. Seems like a heavy price for Dylan Bundy. And if you haven't been watching out here, the Seattle fireworks nightly, it just seems like these guys are leaving the yard. But I do question, say, how much is too much? Because when we look at Dylan Bundy, yes, the talent is there, but doesn't always show it. A 2-to-1 price for him. But do you say, you know what? They're going up against the Mariners. Everybody hits the Mariners. I'm going to stay away. But to me, price just a little bit too high. I would be looking at maybe a team total on either side here, Jason.
Yeah, I mean, look, we remember last season, the Mariners were kicked off to a really hot start, then they started to fade. So again, they got the win last night. They've had a bunch of underdog wins already this season, hefty underdog wins. So yeah, I mean, I don't trust going minus 200 on the Angels. So for me, if I had to make a play on this and I'm not making a play on it, the Mariners at plus 170 would be the value play here. It makes total sense. With Bundy, who's a guy that he has all that potential, but like you said, inconsistent to say the least. For me, I mean, I don't know if the lineup's obviously not the lineup is obviously not out yet, but I would assume the Mariners might have 6 lefties in the lineup, around there. So, but he does struggle versus lefties more than righties. So yeah, I mean, the Mariners at plus 170, they got the win last night. Why can't they continue on moving forward and get another one?
Good point here by DX Filer, and it's one I always use in Major League Baseball and all sports. Early in the season, sometimes these teams don't know they stink yet, and that's what he's saying out there. And also Edwin Gutierrez says, hard to tail Seattle. I do agree with that. Why don't we complete everything, make the full circle here, and get to the last game of the card, 961-962, Tampa Bay and Atlanta, Yarborough versus Fried. Will Fried get fried today? Doesn't look like the gamblers think so. Opened up at 125, 130 at SBRodds.com. Jason, we're now seeing as high as 150 with an 8.5 total across the board. 2 lefties on the mound in Hotlanta. Hotlanta stayed hot last night. Does it continue today versus the lefty Yarborough?
Yeah, I mean, that was crazy this yesterday. We had that game in the Morton game, and yeah, through 5 innings, we got the under, and then all of a sudden, 6th inning, fireworks, 6 runs in the 6th inning, and boom. But for me, yeah, I think I'd go back to the under first 5, 4.5 in this spot. It's not an official play for me. I'm not taking it. Yeah, so Braves minus 145 would probably be the play for me in this game as well. Fried at a 4.02 ERA and a 3.72 FIP. Yarbrough had a 3.55 FIP, 4.13 ERA. So these guys were consistent last season with their FIP, with their ERA, and I do think they can perform. But these bats are starting to heat up a little bit. Does concern me just a little bit. So therefore, yeah, I'm going to stay away from the game.
As Bruce Buffer says, it's time. And we're going to go over our best bets and bankers right now to wrap up the show. Jason has been on fire. I'm looking to bounce back from my 0-1 last night. But hey, still, 2-1 on the week, man. If I win 2 out of every 3 games, you're not going to see me on these channels anymore. Trust me. I'm going to be living somewhere in the islands. So let's get to it right now. I have 2 games I like. One I really like, but I'm going to go one with the banker. The game I do like, and I'm waiting for the lineups to come out, and I'm going to stick with it. The Cleveland Indians team total over 4. If they give me 8 left-hand bats, I think it's a worthwhile transition to go for it. But I'm going to go with my banker play. 5 left-handed bats expected in the lineup. I'm just fading Ivan Nova tonight. I think Kansas City can get to the 5. They should have gone over their 5 last night, or at least the 4.5. I think they at least get the 5 because, hey, look, if Ivan Nova pitches really well, what is it? 5 innings, 3 earned runs, 2 earned runs, tax him onto the bullpen. We're the road team in this game being the Royals. I'm going to get a full 9 at bats and not have to worry about it. I'm going tonight, team total Kansas City over 5, minus 118, and I got that at FanDuel. Jason, take it away. Bankers and best bets, buddy.
Yeah, so first off, how you said you're on the Indians. I'm on the Twins over 3.5. Mm-hmm. We've done this before with the yes. Cubs and Reds, and we both cashed, so keep that in mind when you're making your selections. So yeah, Twins over 3.5 team total for me. Also looking at the Blue Jays minus 139. That is a 4 o'clock Eastern game, so make sure to get that wager in before the others if you want to get in on that one. I got the Cubs and Reds under first 5, 4.5 at plus 104. We're going to look at the Orioles over team total 3.5, and that is my banker play of the day. So, yeah, the bankers, the Orioles. Never thought I'd say this on the show, but I just did. Orioles over 3.5 team total for that one. And the last game for me is the Padres minus 1.5 over the Giants. I do think they'll rebound and perform really well against the Giants in this one after that big loss yesterday.
Fantastic, guys. 30-minute sprint show today. Bankers, bets in the door. We hit every single game on the card. We want to thank you guys for tuning in. And guess what? We will be back tomorrow to set up a great weekend on Friday. Same time, 1:30 p.m. Eastern time. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Jason Radowitz. We are the Sports Book Review Major League Baseball team. And we want to thank you for tuning in. And we will be back tomorrow. Take care, guys.